His
And
fantasy team?
Nope, we're not going to do that. That's Fantasy Fridays. Mark Jones, TV voice of the Sacramento Kings and TV voice of, like, turn on your TV, turn on a sports thing. Mark Jones probably on the broadcast.
Very true.
It's insane. He's going to join us at 11 o'clock, and we'll get into a little Kings preview with him, and we'll revisit Mad Props. So a ton to get to today. But before we get into any of that, I bought an electric vehicle recently. I'm not going to say what kind of electric vehicle it was, but I will take the time to let everybody know you can call the Elk Grove Kia talk line at 916-909-1320. That's 916-909-1320. I love my electric car very much. I love that we have charging stations here in our office parking lot. I can charge at home. We got the solar and stuff. I am just like, I'm green as hell, bro. I am single-handedly trying to cool down September again.
That's right.
I'm doing my best.
Make September manageable again.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm doing my part. I have turned into a jerk on the road in my electric vehicle. I've never been this way before. But here's why. It's not like I drive poorly, right? I love that the EVs, because it's just all torque in the EV. That thing gets going when you want to put the gas
It's like
down.
driving a golf cart. You push the gas pedal and boom, you're gone. Yeah.
Right. Which is great. It's so much fun. But I'm a good driver because I've been in accidents before. Not my favorite thing. So I'm trying to avoid that. Plus, I drive a lot. And I don't want to have to make that phone call to my wife like, yeah, hey, got in an accident. Like, that's terrible. I don't want to do that to her. So I'm very responsible on the road. But I realized just today, that I am the, like, you know, people make fun, definitely used to make fun of, like, hybrid car drivers. And they were, like, snooty, right? I'm the snooty guy now. Because I got the clean air vehicle stickers for my car, which means I, as a solo driver, am allowed to use the carpool lane.
Yep.
Which is phenomenal when you have the commute. I now, like, get so upset at people who aren't supposed to be in the carpool lane who are in the carpool lane. I don't care. I shouldn't care. I'm not a cop. Do your thing. You are living your life. That is your prerogative. Do that. Like, I am not going to snitch. I'm not going to call the police and be like, hey, this person in the Corolla is driving in the, like, no, it's not that. It's not that level. But I am seething when I'm driving behind a person and they're doing 65 in the carpool lane.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm trying to, like, we're on I-5, dog. We can do 70. It's all good. Like, through Elk Grove there. I get so angry at people who shouldn't be in the carpool lane, who are in the carpool lane. And then, like, when the carpool lane slows down as you're on 5 and you start to go through downtown, and the carpool lane merges down to not a carpool lane, and it slows down a lot. And I'm like, this is stupid, because there's so many people in this lane right now who shouldn't be in this lane. I can see you. I saw you merge. There's no one else in your car.
You're bitter, Kyle.
This is a thing that shouldn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't give a rip about this. I used to not even notice when I was a plebe, when I was a normal. No, when I drove my Honda Civic, I never, because I don't want that $450 ticket or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I would not drive solo in the carpool lane during carpool hours. I just didn't want that smoke. So I'd sit on the left, one lane shy of the carpool lane, and I'd sit in the traffic with everybody else, right? Like, just do that. Convenience me. Like, I never used to notice. I never used to see a person pass by with one, and I'd be like, oh, wow, that person's driving in the carpool lane when I shouldn't. Used to not care. Now I care so much, and I hate it about myself. A lot of things I don't like about me. This went right to the top of the list.
Okay, so I've always been an extremely aggressive driver. I don't like driving. So when I get in a car, I want to go from point A to point B as quickly as possible. So I drive fast and I drive aggressive. I thought that when I too purchased an electric vehicle, that I would tone it, that it would make me a better driver.
Sure.
No, it has not made me a better driver. It's made me a worse driver. And now I'm even more aggressive and even more of a handful on the road. Like, I'm a safe driver,
sure,
but I'm aggressive, and, like, I don't have hesitation, and I go. And so it's a little rough out there. Like, you've driven with me. I don't mess around.
I have.
Like, yeah.
No. Just don't drive solo in the carpool lane when you're not supposed to.
That's right.
And everything will be cool. Or here's the other thing. Don't tailgate me when you're not supposed to be in the carpool lane. I'm doing 75. I'm already breaking the law.
That's right.
I'm already doing that. Don't tailgate me. You're not supposed to be here.
This is not your lane.
We're going to go at my pace if you're going to be doing this illegally. When I can safely get over and not be behind a wall of cars, I will do so that person can pass me.
Yeah.
But like, dog, you see me passing people. Do not get on my bumper.
Yeah.
This is dangerous. You're not even supposed to be here. I'll slow down, dude. I don't. Ooh. I'll get on some car's quarter panel so that person can't pass and can't get over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm the worst.
I can be that guy.
Anyways, let's talk about basketball.
I love it, Kyle.
The NBA season tipped off last night. Okay, we got the Bronny James thing out of the way. We did it.
Okay.
They were on the court together. LeBron passed to him. He shot a three. He missed. They set a couple screens for each other. They got their photo op with the Griffies. Can we be done now?
I hope so.
I need it to be over.
Yeah.
The moment happened. We got it. I need Bronny James to now go do whatever he's going to do to develop as a basketball player.
I agree.
I am like the storyline is done now. The entire storyline from when he went to USC was, oh man, is LeBron going to stay in the league long enough? And then he has it. He has his health problems, and that was insane. And super happy he's okay and playing basketball again and in the NBA. That's really cool. Really cool that the Lakers drafted him. Okay, yeah, that was the story of the whole draft. The Lakers going to draft Bronny. They did. Okay, amazing. They played a preseason game together. Wow, amazing. Now they've gotten on the court together in a regular season game. We've seen it. That was the moment everybody was waiting for. That was the thing everybody's been wondering since Bronny James was in high school if they'd be able to pull off. They pulled it off. It's over now. It's done. I never want to hear about it ever again.
Yeah, unless he decides to become like a bona fide ball player.
Yes.
And he develops and he becomes like, like a moderate role player, whatever it might be.
Which is a different thing.
Yeah. But that's not what we're seeing here.
No.
That's not what we saw last night.
No.
I didn't think LeBron looked particularly good either. I was surprised. I mean, Anthony Davis looked like a man possessed.
It was ridiculous.
Just like he was so spectacular. Yeah. The blocks at the rim, just incredible. He's such a good defensive player. I really wish that we didn't have like this notion of him that he's like Mr. Glass and, that he can't. I wish he could stay healthy all the time because really watching him play, he is so incredibly gifted. Yeah. Except for when he plays Domantas Sabonis and he goes,
he gets stuffed
11.
in a locker.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah. I have such a I think Anthony Davis is the best player. Like my opinion of him as a player is way off from what he actually is as a player.
Yes.
In my mind, when I see that Anthony Davis is in the top 75, I'm like, what? That's ridiculous. But then you see when he is good, that game last night, there was like a 20-minute stretch where it was just like Anthony Davis is the best player on the court, bar none, and might be the best player in the league.
Yeah, not even close. Like there was moments in that game where he was so far superior to everyone else on the court.
Just insane.
Yeah.
And you see that and you go, wow, okay, I get it. I get why people are obsessed with Anthony Davis.
Yep.
But man, I can't get out of the back of my mind every time he falls down that his season might be over.
Yeah.
And all the times that I've seen him go into a game against Domantas Sabonis and just not show up. Or how many times in the Lakers-Warriors playoff series a couple years ago, he ended up getting it together by the end of their playoff run there. But during that playoff run for the Lakers, it was like he'd have one really good game and then one game where he just wasn't there.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, you can't just not show up and be that dude. But when he does show up, he is amazing.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable last night.
Yeah, I enjoy watching him play when he's on and he's playing to his potential. Yeah, one of the best players in the league.
Anthony Davis will not turn into a pumpkin against Domas tomorrow because the Lakers do not play the Kings tomorrow.
No, they do next week, though, I think.
Next week?
Yeah, I believe.
In which case, Anthony Davis will indeed, to CV's point, turn into a pumpkin.
Yeah, it might even be this weekend.
Is it 0-11?
0-10, 0-11, something like that.
Man. Yeah, 36 points, 16 boards, 4 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks.
Yeah.
And the incredible thing about Anthony Davis's blocks is it's not just, I feel like his when he's on defensively, it's not, oh, he's just tall and standing at the rim and putting a hand up. He's like chasing down players who beat their man on the opposite side of the court. He's doing chase down blocks on guards that break him down. He's timing weak side block. Like he's an incredible player.
Yeah.
And he showed why last night.
Yeah, the block on Gobert was just nuts.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert's 7'2". Anthony Davis is getting up and sending him away. Yeah. Unreal player. And that's why, like, that's where when I say I'm out on the Lakers, and there are people who go, oh, well, I'm not quite out on the Lakers. It's like, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting that Anthony Davis, game in and game out.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be a good team.
It's what we saw in the Olympics. I mean, if the tandem, if that pairing is like, they're just tough to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I still like would caution people. They're still like a 8, 9, 10, 11 team in the Western Conference. So.
Yeah, and that's why we got into the conversation yesterday about Christmas. Like, call me on Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like, this is kind of why. Is this the Lakers? Are the Lakers just going to get this from Anthony Davis? And I thought JJ Redick coached a hell of a game last night. It looked like the Lakers had a much more, I don't know how good they are. I don't know if they have enough like dudes to be really, really impactful. But they looked like they were running an offense that wasn't just LeBron does everything.
Yeah, I thought that. And I think, stark contrast to what the Kings are doing and even what Minnesota did, they don't crash the offensive glass at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's running back, like every single possession. And so they were leaving a lot there on the table, it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that they don't get into sort of the offensive rebounding game like the Kings are, because they do have some players, and they ended up with 15 offensive rebounds still.
Yeah.
That's a big number, but they weren't like, it wasn't an intentional thing. So yeah, I don't know. I still don't have a lot of faith in that team. And I have less faith in Minnesota's ability to win early in the season after watching them last night.
Yeah, dude, I was concerned. We talked about it yesterday. I was concerned about the Timberwolves and the Randall fit just in general. It looked so clunky last night.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not Anthony Edwards, I just don't trust anyone on that team. Like, who in their starting lineup legitimately scares you? Julius Randle?
Yeah, I mean, not really. No, the only one that scares me is Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, and then Naz Reid off the bench. Naz Reid, awesome player.
Yeah, you got to defend him. And I thought DiVincenzo, like, he looks like he's settling into a role there where he's going to hoist every single time he touches it.
But they need him to be like a distributor and be kind of a point guard. But he shot it 11 times in 32 minutes. He shot 8 threes. He only went 2 of 8. Like, if this is going to work, they're going to need Dante DiVincenzo to hit 39, 40% of his threes again, like he has the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. They're going to need Nickeil Alexander-Walker to be 38, 39, 40% from 3 again on good volume.
Yep.
And at some point, I think you're going to need to see those guys on the court with Anthony Edwards, with Julius Randle, and try and create some kind of spacing, because it just doesn't. I don't know what their plan is there. I think it's going to take a while to iron out, and even the best version of it, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's one game. I'm not trying to make, but a lot of my priors, and I think yours, were confirmed last night.
Well, yeah, and I also think that one of the problems is that when you make a change so late in the offseason, like they had all this time. I mean, DeMar DeRozan's been a Sacramento King since like the 6th of July.
He's been working with Domantas Sabonis all summer.
So he had all of July, he had all of August, he had all of September to get ready for training camp. That's just not what they did here. They made this move right at the last minute, which was very strange to me. So anyway, I think that this team can roll into Sacramento and look different tomorrow. And they, again, the Kings haven't put it together either early. And so it might be a battle of two teams that are still, sort of trying to piece who what their identity is.
Yeah.
But I still have a little bit more faith in what I've seen from Sacramento because I do know, the Gobert Sabonis matchup is always spectacular. Like Gobert scores against Sabonis all the time, but Domas usually puts up a triple double and has a ton of rebounds. I think it's going to be a really, really good matchup.
But if we can talk about this more tomorrow, but if Rudy Gobert is your source of offense, all right, you got it.
Yeah.
Run your offense through Rudy Gobert instead of Anthony Edwards. Go for it.
I'm intrigued too because I think what the Kings are going to do, they're probably going to put Keegan Murray on Anthony Edwards like early on and say, go ahead and this is the best we got. That's the best you got. Like one on the offensive end, one on the defensive end. Let's see how you handle it. I didn't think that Anthony Edwards looked particularly good, and I thought like just the way he has to play.
Yeah, dude.
Because of like sort of their lack of offensive pieces is every time he touches the ball, you're like, oh, he's chucking.
Yes.
And he's not even really trying to get in a good spot. He's not working with his teammates to get to an open spot. It really feels like so much, not just one-on-one, but so much just like drifting on the perimeter. And like, I wasn't super impressed. I think he's going to take a little while to like the numbers will be there, but his shooting percentages won't early on. And, he's going to drift a little bit here as he tries to find his way without a secondary big-time scorer.
No, I think you look at their shot distribution last night. Anthony Edwards at 25 field goal attempts for Anthony Edwards. It felt like 40. Then you had Dante DiVincenzo with 11, and you had Julius Randle with 10. Nobody else had more than 8.
Wow.
That's just not... But again, it's Jaden McDaniels, nice player, is developing, really good defender, but what is he ever going to be a consistent go-to scorer?
No,
certainly not this year. Maybe eventually down the line, but this year you can't rely on him for that. Rudy Gobert, not an offensive player. Mike Conley,
he was at one point, but even that he wasn't elite.
Yeah, he is a settle everything down. We need to get into our offense distributor at this point. 1 for 7 and 0 for 5 from 3 last night. 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3 from Mike Conley. And then Naz Reid, okay, that's your 6 minute. Joe Ingles had to play 7 minutes last night. I'm with you, man. I just don't know. I don't know where their offense is really going to come from.
Yeah, it's interesting.
We'll see.
Jaden McDaniels got in foul trouble, and for me, like he is an elite defender.
Yes,
and that's great. But I think a lot of people look at him, like his length, his athleticism, his build, and all that, as sort of a Mikal Bridges. But Mikal Bridges has had seasons where he averaged, a ton of points.
You see his jump shot?
Yeah. Oh no. Someone messed with his jump. What happened there?
I have no idea.
Like I don't know what happened.
It's all
there.
like,
yeah, no.
What didn't
a little Rasheed Wallace,
Rashard Lewis?
Yeah, Rashard Lewis,
super high release. Like it's
Rasheed Wallace.
I don't love it.
No, something happened there.
Yeah,
yeah. So if you're counting on McDaniels to be your third or fourth scorer, it's not good. And if you're if you have a starting lineup where you have other offensive deficiencies, it's gonna be a little tough.
Yeah, at some point somebody's gonna have to play off the ball, and I don't know that that's Julius Randle's bag. Julius Randle's a downgrade from Karl Anthony Towns.
Oh, he is.
Like in almost every conceivable way.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
It just doesn't. It's a weird fit. And again, there's so much. There are 81 games left. Maybe they figure it out. If they do figure it out, I think it's going to take a while because I just don't think any of this fits. But did you hear JJ Redick complaining about the basketballs after the game?
Yeah, it was a little bit.
I'm in. You know what? I was out. I'm in on JJ Redick, dude. Here's JJ Redick after the game talking about the basketballs.
I'm going to send in a request for the league tomorrow that we can play with worn-in basketballs. I'm not sure why we're playing in real games. I'm being dead serious. I'm not sure why we're playing in real games with brand new basketballs. Anybody who's ever touched an NBA ball brand new, it's a different feel and touch than a worn-in basketball. I didn't realize it till a timeout. There was a long rebound. I grabbed it. I was like, what? Why are we playing with this ball? Give the guys the opportunity to pick a good basketball. You think I'm joking?
No, I'm positive.
I'm neurotic.
I'm positive you're not joking.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love this.
Okay. So the home team provides the balls,
Uh-huh.
and he works for the Lakers.
Uh-huh.
So, like, they provided the basketballs for the game, and then they get to choose. There's like 2 or 3, and then they have extras in case a ball flies into the stands and gets covered in beer. They have a ball for that. So, but then again, you switch out, and whoever, somebody has to like say, okay, this is a ball we're choosing, right? For them not to like go through that process before the game, maybe they were distracted or something because it's opening night.
It's opening night, and you had the whole Bronny LeBron photo op to get to.
Yes.
And
we're all distracted by the photo op.
Yeah, because you see, like go to an NBA game early. If you're going to the Kings game tomorrow, go get to Golden One Center early. Watch warmups, and eventually you'll see like De'Aaron Fox go over, Sabonis go over, and they pick a basketball. Like they feel the basketball and they pound it on the floor and pause, and that's like a process that players go through.
Yeah, there are official game balls that they have that, very specific. There's a lot of things, like I've talked about this before, but like people don't understand. The whistle has a microchip in it and is attached to the clock. So as soon as they blow the whistle, the clock stops. And they test all that out in pregame, and like you can see them in the stands. They'll just keep blowing the whistle and it'll stop the clock. Like there's a lot of like little things to a basketball game that you don't know. But one of them is like very specifically the ball is, there's a selection that they can go through.
Yes.
And like, so somebody didn't do it. I don't know. It makes no sense because if you've ever seen a brand new an NBA ball in a package, remember I worked sporting goods forever, like $89 for an NBA basketball. It's leather and it's slick.
It is so slippery.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get it. I don't hate that he pointed this out. And he was the crux of what he was saying was I liked what, they had 72 paint points last night. And so he was basically saying, I don't mind that we didn't shoot as many threes as I would like because we were dominating in the paint, but also we had some good looks that we missed because of the basketballs. And I don't hate it. I love that there's a coach with that much attention to detail. Good for him. I think JJ Redick's going to be a good coach.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm in on the Lakers. I'm in on JJ Redick.
We'll see. I'm not 100% sold. I know he's going to be really good with the media because he was really good when he was in the media. And it's just,
what?
Yeah, for me, it's like that team, as long as they put the right coaches around him, and I know they did. They worked hard to get coaches to put around him. But I don't know.
The Celtics also beat the Knicks last night, 132-109. We said on the show yesterday, is Boston going to push 70 wins? I kind of think they might, dude.
Yeah, they stomped the Knicks.
It was never close.
No, I mean 29 made threes. It was just like
29 of 61.
They just lit them up, and it was. I think they tried to go for the record. I think it was like 29 to 52.
Yeah, and then they missed a bunch.
They missed a bunch at the end of the game trying to get the NBA record. Yeah, Jason Tatum came out and said, whatever happened this summer in the Olympics and whatever happened with me not getting the MVP, whatever, now I'm going to go and be a problem.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's their entire team. Like, they're just really freaking good. And they have a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
It's quality.
I don't think they're going to make 29 threes every game. I'm ready to say that. But I also think that that's the approach they're going to have every single night. Is they're going to want to beat down every single team they play. I don't think that was just because it was ring night. I don't think it was just because it was the Knicks. I also saw a bunch of people complaining about their offense. Is this what basketball's become? They're out there chucking threes. They shot 50, 47, 87 for the game as a team. If you can do that, do that.
Yeah, whatever you're doing, you did it right.
Yeah, the complaint I saw was basically it was just them passing it around the 3-point line. It's like, yeah, because 3 points is worth more than 2, and they were making them at a 47.5% clip.
Oof.
And shot 50.5% as a team. That's good offense.
It's good offense, and the shots they missed late
that was stupid.
But I mean, again, it's none of your starters. It's just dudes.
It's Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser and
whoever
whoever else is out there at that point.
Yeah,
Did Neemias Queta get a shot up last night?
Neemias Queta did play, did not get a shot up.
Oh, boo.
Jordan Walsh did get a 3. Xavier Tillman got up 3 threes and missed all 3. Sam Hauser, 2 of 7. 1 of 9 for Peyton Pritchard. I think Peyton Pritchard's like, I'm getting that record. And then just kept breaking.
So the Celtics were 29 of 61 from 3. Their bench was 3 of 20, which means their starters went 26 of 41 from 3, which is 63.4%.
Holy smokes.
8 of 11 for Tatum, 3 of 5 for Horford, 4 of 6 for Drew Holiday, 6 of 10 for Derek White, 5 of 9 for Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
They're going to be ridiculous.
After 3 quarters, they were 26 of 45.
Yes.
So in that fourth quarter, they went 3 of 16. And again, most of that was, Peyton Pritchard went 0 for 5 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, they were trying to get to 30. They were just chucking at the end of the game to try and get to 30. I got the clock, by the way. I think at some point during this year, we're going to finally recognize, and I say we, just kind of the royal we, that I think we're watching a historically great team.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't feel like it, but I think that's kind of how this is eventually going to go down, where they're going to go on a run where they win a couple of titles and they have a bunch of 60+ win seasons in there. And by the time whatever this version of the Celtics is done, we're going to look at it and recognize that they're up there with the Michael Jordan Bulls and the Steph Curry Warriors and all the Tim Duncan Spurs.
Yeah.
Like I think that's where this is headed.
No, I think so too. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see him win something like 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 5.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm with you. Like injuries, of course, could play a factor. It's really hard to win a title. You know, we don't know what the league is going to look like over the next year or 2 or 3. You know, players could be traded and teams could improve or whatever. But man, it's hard to see Boston losing a lot of games this year and anytime in the near future.
No, I totally
looked
agree.
Awesome last night. All right, we've got trade movement in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is heading to the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll discuss that. Do the 49ers and Raiders need to follow suit in making moves? Plus, coming up at 11 o'clock, Mark Jones joins us to preview the Sacramento Kings season. Plus, it looks like the Kings are doing some weird stuff at their starting lineup, or what I think is weird. We'll talk about that as well coming up. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Lots to get into before noon. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader. Yeah, this break is super short. So
Oh, got it.
We have 3 minutes.
What's going on, everybody?
Getting a lot of spam calls these days.
What? Emmy's here. What's up, Emmy?
Oh, Emmy, what's up?
NBA guru Zach. No, Fox will not stop shooting threes off the dribble. I don't think so. I think Dalton Connect is a lot of fun. Like how he develops as a player, we'll have to see, but I think he's a lot of fun. Emmy, I think I'm happy for Sasha. Like again, 30 minutes a game in Greece. The game is slower and plays more to his pace. And I think he's a really good dude, and I think he's probably going to win another MVP or 2 here in the next 2-3 years. So I'm happy for him. You know, a lot of people try the NBA game thinking that it's the biggest stage and all that stuff, and then sometimes you get to the league and it's just way too much. And I think for Sasha being away from home and everything else, like there's a lot of things going against him there. So nothing but love for my man Sasha.
I respect the shit out of him for just bouncing for no money.
For taking no money. Yeah. For not even saying, hey, if you pay $3 mil, then
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he went.
That's true.
I want to go play basketball elsewhere now. Goodbye. Like, dude, salute.
I mean, I'm sorry.
All right, we might dip into what we have in the 11 o'clock a little bit here.
That's fine. Yeah, we can lead into Mark with that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, scary stuff for Andy Dalton and his family in a car crash yesterday, but he's all right.
Atlanta?
Yeah, he's all right.
Oh, good. I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
All right, 10 seconds. Chatty house is wild. All right, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
A little loud. Sorry, everybody. He's James. I'm Kyle. Salute to Jiffy Lube. Want to remind everybody that Socktober is here, and people need socks. We're working with the Gathering Inn, which is a terrific organization here in the Sacramento area that is collecting and distributing socks to the unhoused. People need those socks all the time, but especially this time of year when the temperatures, we know how hot it gets in Sacramento in the summer. It can also get very cold, especially at night in the winter. And those socks can be a life changer for somebody. You can bring them to 3010 Lava Ridge Court, Suite 220 here in Roseville. That's 3010 Lava Ridge Court, Suite 220 here in Roseville. You bring your socks unwrapped, like in the package, new socks. We have a blue bin here. You can drop them in. You stick around during a break. James and I will come out and say what's up and tell you how much we appreciate your donation. If you can't bring them to Roseville, hit me up or hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and we can arrange to have you ship them, which I have had a couple people already reach out to do. So salute to those people for helping us out during Socktober. Hell yeah. All right. The Chiefs traded for DeAndre Hopkins. They sent a 4th-round pick to the Tennessee Titans for the 32-year-old who had 1,000 yards last season. He has not had a great year this year. He's playing with a torn MCL. He's also playing with Will Levis.
He's also playing with a bad quarterback.
Which, like, yikes.
Yeah, how do you handicap that one?
So we talked about this on Candlestick Chronicles, the 49ers podcast I host with the Sacramento Bees, Chris Biederman. And the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is going for a 4th-round pick means I believe the 49ers should be out on wide receiver trade market stuff.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like a 4th is a lot.
Well, they're saying it's a 5th that can get to a 4th round.
Oh, okay.
So that makes sense to me. 4th, yeah, they get a 5th round pick that elevates to a 4th round pick if Kansas City makes the Super Bowl and Hopkins plays 60% of the snaps.
Okay. Tennessee, I feel really good about Kansas City going to the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, especially with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still a great wide receiver. You look at him, his stats, like he matches up historically against.
Historically,
yeah,
really good player.
Yeah, he's one of the top 15 receivers all time in yards.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, this is a hell of a addition to a team that did needed another wide receiver, especially after the Rashee Rice injury.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how he looks, because I always thought his game was going to age really well because he's so good at using his body and gaining leverage on defenders and then making contested catches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is so good at catching the ball away from his body that I think his game is going to age really well. But as a 32-year-old NFL player with a torn MCL, I don't know how well that's going to go. Like, that's where my question is. And that would be that's why, like I said, with San Francisco specifically, it's like, okay, DeAndre Hopkins is a big name, but how much does he move the needle for you when you've got Deebo Samuel, you've got Jawan Jennings, used a first-round pick on Ricky Pearsall, used a fourth-round pick on Jacob Cowing.
I still think they can find a player in that range. Like, I don't know if you're going to be able to, in Hopkins' range.
I guess.
I
just
don't know.
here's you're gonna have Christian McCaffrey coming back, and DeAndre Hopkins. Like, let me rephrase that. DeAndre Hopkins is a better player than Jawan Jennings or any of the other receivers I mentioned.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
to be totally.
I mean, he's
clear.
a better pass catcher than Deebo Samuel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 1,000%. But on the other hand, I don't know that, like, when you look at the extensive list of things wrong with the 49ers right now, I don't think if you're going into a game with Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey supposed to be back right after the bye week, according to Kyle Shanahan. Can Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing contribute a little bit? Like, I don't know that you need a receiver of that caliber. If the Patriots want to send Kendrick Bourne for a late round pick, okay, that's a depth piece. Like, he may play over Pearsall, he may not. It's just kind of insurance at the receiver position. But man, if you're using a mid-round pick like that, they have defensive end problems they need to address.
Yeah.
They have linebacker problems they need to address. I think they probably have a safety problem they're going to need to address. If they can go get an offensive lineman, that I think would play. They have so many. I know the Brandon Ayuk injury makes this seem like this, like, red alert, all the red flags are up. They need to go get a wide receiver now. If you're going to use your high-end draft capital, a day 1 or 2 or early day 3 pick, I'd so much rather that go to one of those other places than to Christian Kirk.
Well, because we know how much you love Christian Kirk.
Out on Christian Kirk.
Not
my favorite player in the NFL.
Okay, so a couple of things. Number one, DeAndre Hopkins right now sits at 23rd all-time in passing yards. He can easily get into the top 20. Steve Largent said 13,089 yards, maybe 500 yards ahead of him. He could get up to, like, number 19, 18, right around there by the end of this season. And if he plays another season, he easily could be top 10. So that, for me, like, look, the Niners have had guys in their system here for a couple of years. Like, was it Chris Connolly, right?
Yeah.
Like, Chris Connolly is not a horrible wide receiver. He can actually play the game. He's just not elite.
He's not good. Not a good player.
Well,
he's fine.
Yeah. I mean, if you need him to go out there and be your number 1, number 2, then you're in trouble and your season's lost anyways.
Yeah.
So if I'm the 49ers, I would at least, like, go out there and look for a wide receiver. I don't know, again, I don't know who else would be available. But if the Raiders are going to open up and sell off, like, Jacoby Myers,
sure.
Like, all right, I'm down. But what you need to make sure you're doing is you're getting a player who might be under contract for like 2 years, and then one of those years is reasonable, and you're not taking on a whole bunch more money for next year. And, so you're tightrope walking. And for me, like, if the Niners do decide to use, like, a 3rd round pick on a defensive lineman, or I would hope that they do that as opposed to a wide receiver. And I've always been fine if they want to give up a 3rd, a 4th round pick. That's fine for me, because I honestly think they're really poor drafting in that area of the draft. And I would rather know what I'm getting than speculate on a value pick like that, a pick with a ton of value, and swing and miss with the high value pick, when you might be able to get a veteran who's 24, 25, 26, who can help you long term and can fit into your system, but who's really solid. And who he is and what he is, and you can, bring him in, and there he is in your system.
Yeah, I just don't. There's a weird thing with wide receivers, specifically that position, that it's the thing that, like, everybody latches onto.
Yeah.
Need a receiver. Receivers available. Got to go get him. Oh, you need more good receivers. Like, yeah, no doubt. Having 5 excellent wide receivers would be awesome. But it doesn't do it. Like, it's not their top priority, I don't think.
No,
at least it shouldn't be.
It's not going to change their trajectory either, I don't think.
No. Would Jacoby Myers make the wide receiving core better? Like, yeah, for sure. But that doesn't solve your problems defensively. That doesn't solve your problems with Brock Purdy being unable to throw from a clean pocket.
Yeah.
Like none of that. I don't think it matters that much. So they need to get active in the trade market unless they're looking at this year and going, hey, you know what? The cupboard's very bare. And we talked about this before the year. Their top end talent was awesome. But when Matt Barrows said that this is the most talented team he'd ever covered, I fully disagreed for kind of the reason we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not deep enough.
Yeah.
And if it wouldn't shock me if their front office looks and goes, all right, 3-4 this year. There's not a trade out there really that's going to push us over the top to make us a Super Bowl team. So we're just going to kind of stand pat. We're going to let Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowan get this burn. We're going to let Kalia Davis play a ton on the defensive line. We're going to let Sam Okuwanu play a ton on the defensive line and Robert Beal and see how these guys develop. And then go into next offseason with a full slate of draft capital. Say, okay, you're going to try and restock the cupboard in next year's draft instead of trying to push all in for a Super Bowl this year. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
No.
Like last year was the chance. Last year was the all in trading for Randy Gregory, trading for Chase Young, had everything kind of go their way from a health perspective, had everything go their way from the getting the number 1 seed perspective, where you have the Cardinals going into Philly and winning that game. Everything went their way. They got to face the worst version of the Chiefs that the Chiefs have been since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And he still lost. It would not shock me at all if that's how they're looking at their roster for next year and 2026 and 2027 and saying, all right, Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk, who else is here in 27?
Yeah, I think the one other aspect that I think they know they have a better handle on than we do is if they do chase a wide receiver,
mm-hmm.
it could show you how long they believe that Ayuk is going to be out. And that would be the one problem that they might have. Because if you're looking at this, like if you can get a wide receiver right now that can help you, but also is under contract next year and maybe the year after, and you know that it could signal that they believe Ayuk is going to miss a good portion, if not all of next season as well, because it was like a catastrophic knee injury that they don't even know the extent of yet.
Yeah, we still don't know all the details on that. We know it's an ACL and an MCL, but then Ian Rappaport said there might be more damage. Like, ugh.
Yeah, they're worried.
It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. On the other hand, you have a Las Vegas Raiders team that traded Devontae Adams, and then immediately the rumor mill is ablaze that they're going to trade Max Crosby. And I don't think they need to do all that.
I would trade
that feels desperate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would trade some of the other peripheral guys if there's someone else. Again, a Jacoby Myers isn't a young player. Like if somebody's
27, got 2 years left, I think,
knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, what can we give you for this player or that player?" Mm-hmm. Like, okay, that's fine, but like, don't trade your core. Even Wilkins is hurt, right? Yeah, but I mean, that's a guy who 29 going on 30, mm-hmm. where you'll be like, okay, maybe I should go cash in.
Mm-hmm.
And even for a team like the Niners, if they wanted to trade a player like that, you'd be like, all right, like, how can we get in on this?
Sure.
Probably not going to be able to, but how can you? But outside of that, like, I just don't know that they have a lot of talent. They need more picks for sure.
Yeah. But they also have to walk that line between, okay, is this a player who could potentially, again, talking about 3-4 years down the road, is this a player who's going to be part of the program in 3 years? Or is this a player like Jacoby Myers? Maybe the Raiders love Jacoby Myers and want to re-sign him and make him a foundational piece of their team well into his 30s, because he's 27 right now.
Okay.
Maybe that's it. And if that's the case, then yeah, don't move him. But if they're looking at Jacoby Myers and going, yeah, we're not re-signing this guy, then for sure, go get a 5th round or a 6th round pick for him and call it good. Give any player an opportunity who you're not sure if they're part of your future. Give them an opportunity to go play this year, because that's what this is about the rest of the way. You want to win games, no doubt. That's going to be the goal week in and week out.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be looking at this season, and you have to be trying to figure out who on this roster is good and who isn't. And maybe that means giving some guys opportunities that you thought, you know what, probably not. But you got to let them go play. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I just don't agree with the idea that the Raiders are having a fire sale because they traded Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams was a player who clearly wasn't going to be part of the team in 3 years or even next year. He was clearly a player who had quit, who didn't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
For the Raiders. So get him out of there.
Yeah,
that's good business.
Yeah,
good work.
I totally agree. Yeah, Jacoby Myers is on a 3-year, $33 million contract that he signed in March of 2023.
This year and next year left.
Yeah, so $11 million in both seasons.
How much guaranteed next year? I think it's none, right?
That it's possible, but I don't have it pulled up.
Okay. All right. That's the NFL trade deadline, November 5th.
Oh, it's almost here.
It is right around the corner. That's what's tough for the 49ers specifically, and we'll talk Kings here in a second, but that's what's tough for the 49ers specifically, is you'd love to see, okay, what does the offense look like with Debo and Kittle and Jennings and Pearsall and Cowing and Christian McCaffrey? You're not going to get that opportunity because you play this week and then you have a bye, and the trade deadline is Tuesday after the bye week.
Oof.
I'm sorry. Yeah, November 5th. Yes.
Okay.
Important day. The Tuesday after the bye week is when the trade deadline is. So the Niners aren't going to get a chance to do all that. Which is kind of why I think, like, if they can get a player they think fits on the defensive line for a late round pick, okay, great, or a linebacker or whatever. But I don't know. I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl this year, so I wouldn't do too much with next year's draft capital. Anyways. He's James Ham, I'm Kyle Madsen. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We're the Insiders. We hang out every day from 10 a.m. to noon right here on this radio station, ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. This radio station, and of course, this YouTube channel. Salute to everybody in the chatty house and everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch. We appreciate y'all so very much. An interesting thing happened with the Kings starting lineup. And I know that I kind of tried to make the case for this at one point, but it was more of a, I could see this being a thing, but not something I necessarily agreed with. But if Kevin Huerter's good to go tomorrow, he's going to play and start?
Yeah. So
what? Did we miss something? Did I miss something?
I think we did.
What?
I went down to practice yesterday. I left right after. I made it down in time for practice. They let us in. We sat there, and Trey Lyles is on the court, which is a good thing. And we're surprised by that. But Kevin Huerter's on the court, and we haven't seen Kevin Huerter. The Kings had scrimmaged, 5-on-5 scrimmage, and Kevin Huerter's wearing a starter's uniform, penny, exactly. And Keon Ellis is wearing a gray, second team penny. And so when Mike Brown came over to talk to us, that was the first question. I asked him straight up, what's the deal at the shooting guard position? And, what's going on with Kevin? Is he going to play? And Mike was like, if he's going to play on Thursday, and there's a good chance that he will, then yeah, he's going to start. And I think all of us just kind of your jaw dropped a little bit, wow, that escalated quickly. And look, I get it to a certain degree. I have made this case multiple times. I would start Keon Ellis, but
I think I would too.
But I understand the flip side where you won 48 games with Kevin Huerter as your starting shooting guard. He was your third leading scorer 2 years ago. Last season, he had a horrible season. Things went wrong from the jump with him. And then the injury happened. And I think it is it's something that we've heard in football for so often, that you don't lose your starting job when you get hurt. Right. And so I get that a little bit. And I also understand that their starting lineup has two players who don't shoot threes. One that's not very good at shooting threes, and one who just kind of reluctantly takes
DeMar DeRozan does not shoot a lot of threes.
Well, he doesn't shoot a lot of threes, and he also doesn't hit a high clip of threes when he does. He's a career 32% shooter or something. And Domantas Sabonis is a quality 3-point shooter, but he does not want to shoot them. You can feel it in his, like, you can see it, like, he doesn't want to shoot the three.
Not comfortable doing so.
No. So having a guy like Kevin Huerter who has we always talk about this, gravitational pull, it does make sense. But on the other side, I don't know what your defense is going to look like. I don't think it's going to be any worse than the pairing of Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes last year. But I think there has to be some concern that your defense is not going to be very good. And like, I don't know how you fix that. Like we talked about, I personally think, like, and sort of like the buzz that I'm hearing, there's a good chance that Keegan Murray is going to defend Anthony Edwards on opening night.
Yeah, makes sense.
It does make sense. But then who defends Julius Randle? Like, I'm not sure. I guess, who defends?
Domas?
Well, but then who defends Gobert?
Anyone.
A 6'6" guy?
Yeah.
Which, a 6'6" or a 6'7" guy?
Run your offense to Rudy Gobert. That's fine. Go ahead.
You choose which one is gonna start. And
I love that idea, actually. Hell yeah.
Okay. No, I get it. But like, I think, again, Kevin Huerter, I think, can defend Jaden McDaniels. I think that's fine. Right. And
who can?
Kevin Huerter. Like, I think McDaniels isn't gonna light up Kevin. He might, but I don't think he's going to light up Kevin Huerter. He's not a off the dribble guy. But then that leaves,
he might be against Kevin Huerter.
but that leaves Julius Randle on DeMar DeRozan. And and we don't know if Trey Lyles is going to play. That's the other part of this. We don't know if Trey Lyles is going to play. But there is a shot that Trey Lyles plays, and he's very close to a return, whether it's going to be Thursday or it'll be Saturday or it'll be Monday, whatever it is. Trey Lyles is like on the cusp of returning. He did play a lot yesterday. He was a full participant in practice yesterday. Today's the day where you're going to see, okay, Trey, how do you feel?
Yeah.
And if you don't feel good, then there's a good chance he won't play tomorrow. If he feels perfectly fine today, maybe a little bit sore just from running up and down the court, there's a good chance he's playing tomorrow. And so all of a sudden you go from spending the entire preseason and all of training camp without two of your top, 8 players, to all of a sudden they could just fall from the sky in the final 3 days before you start the NBA season, and they're part of your rotation. And now this thing could look a little clunky because they haven't played with anybody outside of the guys that were here before, but they haven't played with a Jordan McLaughlin. They haven't played with DeMar DeRozan.
Sure. And
they're going to have to figure it out.
Do you think that this is born out of their 3-point shooting being so bad in the preseason?
I think a little bit of it is that, but I also, I think that for Kevin Huerter to lose his starting job, you have to lose your starting job because the player who's taking that position from you is better. Yeah, and like we talk about fit, and we talk about like, hey, I think defensively he's
Keon's
better.
A way better fit.
We think he's a way better fit, but is he a better player? And to be honest, Keon didn't separate himself at all during the preseason. And like, you don't want to put so much stock into preseason, but at the same time, if he would have gone out and just openly won the job, and we would have all felt like super comfortable, but Keon wasn't great defensively. He fouled out of a game. He got in foul trouble in multiple games. He didn't look like the defensive stopper. He was taking sort of too long to get into the player he was last year. And look at the end of the season. The Kings didn't. It's not fair because Malik Monk was gone as well. But Keon stepped in the final week and a half of the season or whatever, and they finished like 4-7 or whatever. That wasn't good enough. So it's not like he went out and
that's true.
Planted a flag on the moon and said, I am the starter. That didn't really happen. Sure, your defensive metrics improved greatly with Keon Ellis, and team defense improved greatly. But now he's part of your rotation, and so hopefully that does carry over. I think it was just a little surprising to see Mike go, oh, he's healthy? Oh, okay, he's playing.
Can you dispel me of this concern?
Okay.
Is there any chance that this wasn't Mike Brown's choice / decision?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because that's
just
something.
Sure.
Yeah, because there is always that concern.
Yeah.
But
because I know there's that kind of that
franchise decision.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's how I typically call it. Like, there is a bigger thing that Mike has to deal with, and that's all the other voices that are part of this.
Yeah.
I don't believe this was a franchise decision.
I think this is Mike Brown saying Kevin Huerter is our best option.
Yeah.
Right now.
I think in a franchise decision, you probably would have given Keon Ellis like 3 or 4 games here to get you off on the right foot, and then put Kevin in and built up Kevin and get his minutes up, and then have him take over that way. This feels like, okay, if my starting shooting guard is healthy, he's my starter again, which is, it's intriguing to me because I didn't think it would go this way, but Mike was kind of coy with it the entire preseason anyways.
Well, and he was pretty staunch last year before Kevin Huerter got hurt that, like, nope, not making any changes in starting lineup.
Yeah.
Even as they were, whatever they got started out, like 9-0 with Keon as a starter. Even with that, he was pretty staunch in that Kevin Huerter wasn't coming out of the starting lineup. So
yeah, and I mean, everyone knows that the front office ownership, they want offense. They do.
Yes, right.
They want offense. We hear it every single time Monty talks. He wants offense. Kevin Huerter is a better offensive player than Keon Ellis. It's not even remotely close. As much as Keon is better on the defensive end than Kevin, Kevin is better on the offensive end, and that's just the facts.
Yeah.
Don't look at just pure shooting percentage or anything else. The way that Keon plays is, and Kevin plays, they're very different styles. Yeah. But Kevin's a good offensive player.
Interested to see how this all shakes out. Maybe we'll ask Mark Jones, television voice of the Kings and television voice of, you turn on ESPN, you're probably going to hear Mark Jones. He's going to join us next. We'll preview the Kings season, and we'll get more into, you talked about Trey Lyles. We'll dive into that some more Mike Brown from practice yesterday. We got mad props. We got NBA games tonight to go over. Plenty to get to in the second hour. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320. It's Sacramento Sports Leader. I did not say Keon Ellis is a way better player than Kevin Huerter.
Defender, you might have said that.
I might have said way better fit.
Yes.
But no, he's not a better player. Also, real quick, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. Devin White sucks. He is bad at football. I'm out. The Eagles stink at linebacker, and he couldn't even get on the field for them. I'd rather D. Winters or Jalen Graham play than Devin White.
Yeah. Hey, kill the mics for 1 sec.
Okay. He is up, and you should be able to talk to him. Oh,
Mark Jones, you got us?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Ready to cook, because I'm ready to eat, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on.
We're coming out of break in what, a minute?
Awesome.
Minute and a half. How are you?
Ready for the NBA season. I'm already tired of self-important, self-aggrandizing college football coaches. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is a moment where I tell Mark, hey, just so you know, Mark, you're still live on the stream and everyone can hear you on the stream. We don't know where you're at, though. You're okay. Anyway, I can only imagine, because I remember playing high school football and my relationship disintegrated with my head coach in my final year. And self-aggrandizing is
I had a coach as a student journalist at Sac State, like 19-year-old kid just trying to get credit for a class. And Sac State was supposed to be good one year, and they weren't as good. And then they had a chance to go to the playoffs, and they lose to UC Davis. Just got their asses whooped in the last game of the year. And I just asked a terrible question in a presser. And coach, I said, if you could use a word to describe this season, what word would you use? Like, just bad question. And he looks at me and he goes, I don't know. What word would you use? Like, oh God, just.
He wasn't playing with you, huh?
No.
Yeah. They're all sideways because of the NIL and the portal. And, nobody was complaining when the kids were broke, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's true, right?
Yeah.
They loved the system when it was the other way.
Here we go.
We're going live.
Hour number 2, I'm Kyle Madsen. That's James Ham. Jiffy Lube sponsors the program, and we're going to skip all the usual hour number 2 stuff because we got royalty in the house. Mark Jones is joining us now as we look ahead to the Sacramento Kings season opener tomorrow night at Golden One Center against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Mark, how we doing, man?
Outstanding. I can't wait until they throw the ball up in the air tomorrow and we run one for real. Preseason is preseason, man. It's really time to cook right now.
I gotta say real quick, you seem like the kind of guy that just doesn't have bad days. Like, your vibe is always A1.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. You know what? It's about staying in the moment and being able to really dive into where you are, be where your feet are. And I look forward to my feet getting on the plane and being at Golden One Center tomorrow. And it's going to be fun. I'll be on practice tomorrow morning in my happy place, speaking to the coaches, speaking to the players, having some great anecdotes and strategies to talk about on the broadcast. Got a whole bunch of catching up to do with the fans tomorrow too,
Mark, are you going to check and make sure that the ball is broken in before it's used at the game? Because I think it's definitely a question that needs to be answered.
Yeah. I know that I heard that comment yesterday from the Laker game, and I'm thinking, okay, I can understand the guys that handle it a lot having an issue, but I mean, after a while, you just adjust. It's better to have a ball that bounces a little bit sideways because it's not broken in versus hitting dead spots on the floor and not knowing where dead spots are. So, I don't get that, but I'll make sure that Courtney Kirkland, whoever's officiating the game tomorrow, Ed Malloy, make sure to give De'Aaron a ball that is perfect tomorrow. I'll be on duty making sure that happens.
Talking with television voice of the Kings, Mark Jones, and if you turn on ESPN at some point, you're probably also going to hear Mark Jones. Where are you at right now?
I'm in South Florida, and I'm jumping on a plane in about 2 hours. I'll be at Doco late tonight, ready for the game tomorrow. I'll be at practice tomorrow morning, and start of a busy weekend. Looking forward to the game, and then I'll be doing Thursday's game and Monday's game as well. So it's going to be fun.
What if you could pick out one thing that you're looking forward to with this year's Kings, what is it?
I want to see, I never believed in Okay, I think they're going to win like 48 to 50 games. I think they're a top 6 team. I'll start there.
Yep.
I want to see what impact everything has, the hierarchy offensively, especially what impact it has on Keegan Murray. I never believed in trickle-down economics. I think it's a joke, but I think trickle-down offense works. I think when you add a big piece like DeMar DeRozan, who's going to give you 23, 20 DeRozan, it's Sabonis with his double-doubles, triple-doubles. And Keegan Murray, I think, is set up to make a quantum leap this year because he's going to get the 4th best defender, right? Here's the trickle-down part. He's going to get the 4th best defender, not the 3rd best defender anymore, or even the 2nd. And I think we'll see Keegan shooting the ball at a rate where we saw him shoot his rookie year, especially with respect to open three-pointers.
All right, Mark, it's kind of an interesting thing that's happening here over the last 24 hours where Mike basically broke it down and said, hey, look, if Kevin Huerter is healthy, Kevin Huerter will start at the shooting guard spot. And I think it caught me off guard. It caught everybody else off guard. Where are you at with this? Because I thought Keon Ellis was exceptional on the defensive end at the end of the season. I thought he changed everything for them defensively at some point. But I also understand that Kevin Huerter has a tremendous amount of value as an offensive weapon.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. To throw Kevin in there cold on starting night, I'd be a little bit surprised. But I don't think that Mike would put him out there if he didn't feel that he'd be able to make an immediate contribution and be him right away. Keon has done an exceptional job, and frankly, when you look at Keon's 3-point shooting numbers, they're pretty impressive too. So they don't lose anything there. I think they gain something at the defensive end with Keon, with his ability of point of attack defense. So I think in the end, guys, Kyle James, it adds up to the Kings having more depth. I don't think there's any kind of net loss there. I think it's a net gain when you add it all up.
Talking with Mark Jones, television voice of the Sacramento Kings. Does their 3-point defense concern you? Like I'm less concerned about the shooting because I think Kevin Huerter will be better this year. I think you already mentioned Keegan Murray. I think he's going to creep up back toward 41%
as a rookie.
I think he's going to creep back up toward that number. But defensively is where I'm a little bit concerned. They obviously struggled on the perimeter last season. That's where I think they might struggle again this year because I don't know. I don't know if DeMar DeRozan is going to have a meaningful impact in that area.
Yeah, 30th, right, in 3-point percentage defense, or 29th. Same thing. Yeah, you know what? That's just like one component of overall defense, so it doesn't worry me that much. I think when you look at the real precipitous rise that we made defensively last year from 2 years ago being 24th to 13th, 14th last year, I don't think that it's fair to just parse one variable in the overall defensive rating. We'd all love for it to be better than 30th, right? In defending free ball.
Yeah.
But I think when you package it all together, it's not as worrisome. I'd rather have a 13th or 14th defensive rated team overall and be 30th in 3-point defensive defense than have, a top 10 3-point defense and be 25th or 26th. So,
sure.
Yeah. I think it adds up to maybe being able to suppress mid-range and points in the paint as well too.
Mark, you've been around the league for a long time, and you've had plenty of time to meet and discuss things with DeMar DeRozan and kind of get a feel for who he is. What do you think he brings, not just as a basketball player, at the age of like 35, he's still got a lot left in the tank,
right,
but maybe the overall package that is DeMar, the writer, the veteran, the leader behind the scenes?
Yeah, he brings a certain amount of experience, playoff experience that nobody else on the team has. championship, played in Eastern Conference Finals with the Raptors several times, and a certain equanimity, a calm that I don't think that you get unless you've been there. And, De'Aaron, his leadership voice is still growing, and that's a great thing. And Sabonis has a leadership voice on that team too. But I think what DeMar brings is somebody who you look at across the way, and whether he's saying it or doing it, it's going to be extremely impactful. And DeMar has a certain toughness about him that doesn't always show up when you're just watching the game. Certain competitiveness that his teammates see and feel, and I think we're going to be able to watch that this year. And that's one thing that really excites me about this Kings team, and him being able to be another clutch fourth quarter scorer is huge for this team. In those moments where you have to stop the clock, get a bucket, get to the free throw line, nobody does it as well as he does.
You talked about the Kings being a playoff team this year. You think they're in that 48 to 50 win range. I think one of the reasons I feel more confident in them making the postseason as a top 6 team after last night watching Minnesota, because I was already mostly out on them with the Julius Randle acquisition. I didn't love that. I didn't love the fit, and nothing really happened last night to change my mind on that. Where do you sit with Minnesota and maybe the Lakers after watching them last night?
Yeah, Minnesota is an interesting study because they just made the deal and they didn't have much ramp up time to assimilate to what they have in Julius Randle. I'll say this. I've spoken with people with the Timberwolves, and it's going to be fun to watch that game and call that game on Thursday night. Julius Randle, Finchy will figure it out. Chris Finch is a marvelous offensive coach. Really good. Alvin Gentry, our front office man, now in Sacramento, was the head coach in New Orleans when Julius Randle was there. Finch was the offensive coordinator. He ran the offense. Julius Randle was a bucket there while he was there. So Finchy will ultimately figure it out with what he has to work with in Minnesota and Anthony Edwards and everybody else. And I think they'll be okay. They might not have the openness, but he'll be able to. I think he adds another creator as opposed to a floor spacer that Cat gives them. And Julius in his All-Star year shot over 40% too. So let's not forget that. I think ultimately Minnesota's still a top 3 team. As for the Lakers last night, I noticed that JJ Redick was very intentional about getting the ball to Anthony Davis, and it's no mistake that he put the numbers up that he did. And if they get that kind of performance from AD, listen, guys, it wasn't that long ago. I was in the bubble in 2020. I called the games in the bubble with Doris, and he was a monster. He was a behemoth in the paint. Yep. And it wasn't that long ago. He owned Joker, right? Now the tables have flipped a little bit, but there was a time when AD was that dude. He was the unstoppable guy. And I think JJ is really going to lean into that and be able to save some of the heavy lifting offensively with LeBron. So, I think the Lakers are not a top 6 team. I think they're a top 8 team. But it was interesting to see the numbers that AD put up last night. And they have a shot of being, I think, in that 6 to 8 range.
All right, Mark, I know we can't keep you all day. You have to eventually get on a plane here, right? Oh, yeah, something like that. But what are you expecting from the Kings early? Do you think that they're going to come out of the gate a little slow here? We saw, again, Mike talk about he doesn't really have his arms wrapped around this team yet. Yeah. He doesn't really know what he has because of all the injuries, all the moving pieces, a couple of young players that are coming in. But like everybody else, the ball's going up in the air this week, and he's got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's it's a little bit daunting, but I think ultimately, they've had a chance to put their eyes and arms around a lot of different scenarios. And getting Kevin and getting Trey back, assimilating them back into the offense is going to be, listen, they've got experience doing it, right? I mean, they've all been there before, so I don't think it'll be that rough a ride. We may start off a little bit slow as a result, but I think that ultimately, because the way we run our offense, because it's an equal opportunity ball movement player type of offense, I think it's easier to get guys on a singular page faster than if our offense were a heavy dose of pick and roll and burying guys in corners and dishing to the strong side and that kind of stuff. So, hey, it may be a 500 start for the first 6, 8 games, 10 games maybe, but we can see it. We can see the market correction real quickly.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Mark Jones does a fabulous job broadcasting really everything, but specifically Sacramento Kings games. You can hear him tomorrow night at Golden One Center. Mark, cannot wait to hear you on the broadcast and to chat with you tomorrow.
It's going to be fun, guys. I'm going to be on a lot more games this year. That's my happy place. I'll see you there tomorrow.
Can't wait, Mark. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
He's ready
Mark.
to cook, and we're ready to watch him do it. That's Mark Jones. Kings, Timberwolves tomorrow, Golden One Center, regular season opener. Man, I can't wait. What a guy.
He's awesome, man. He's awesome. I can't. The hard work he puts in, how he's all over the country, all the time doing his stuff is just
one of those guys that makes me feel cooler just talking to him.
Oh, all the time. Yeah,
like I'm lame, like for sure. I feel like I gain a couple points though. Just chatting with Mark.
If you want to be like the coolest of the cool, you go down to the court. You wait till Mark Jones and Alvin Gentry are somewhere near each other.
Okay.
And then you find a way to get in a conversation with both of them, because then you might be in a conversation with the two coolest dudes in the league.
Okay, that's my goal tomorrow.
Okay,
that's my. I'm not even watching warm-ups. I'm just watching the sidelines.
You're just watching to see if you can get into this conversation.
Just like, hey, Al, could you come here for a second? I got Mark Jones over here. I just want to chat with you guys.
Yeah,
call him Al like we know each other.
There's no Alvin Gentry is absolutely amazing, and like look, Mark Jones is such a breath of fresh air, and every time he comes, he gets to roll in for a game. I like that he said he's doing more games in Sacramento this year. I know last year it was his daughter's final year playing college basketball, and he wanted to make sure he was there for as much as possible. And and then he has this other gig where he's all over the country. He's what do you say?
South Florida right now.
South Florida.
Yeah.
He'll be here tomorrow to call a game, and then he probably will be somewhere over the weekend because he's calling Monday's game. But that probably means he's not calling Saturday's game. He probably has to call like 2 football games this weekend. It's absolutely amazing how hard he works and how educated he is.
And he's on all the time.
Yes.
That's the impressive part. Like there are days I come in, I do a 2-hour radio show 5 days a week. There are days where I come in, I'm like, you know what? Don't got it today.
Yeah.
Like, the energy is just not there. Like I'm gonna do my best, and I walk out, I'm like, Mark's just I have never watched a Mark Jones broadcast and been like, Mark didn't have it today.
Oh no.
He's just ready
never
ready
cashes
to go
it in.
all the time.
Yeah.
Anyways. That Stephen A. Smith is like that too, by the way.
Always on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Had him on the radio one time. I think I've told the story before, but I called him up. Hey, Stephen A., it's Kyle with 95.7. You still got a few minutes for us? He's like, yeah, man. How's it going? Yeah, still got it. Gets on air. Switch. Flipped. And he's Stephen A. Smith. Man. Pros, man.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit last segment about Kevin Huerter being in the starting lineup. So you also mentioned in that Trey Lyles is very close to returning.
Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, again, Trey was at practice yesterday. He was actually cleared for contact.
Yeah.
He was running up and down playing 5-on-5. And then the word is like he's very close.
My question to you is, should he start over DeMar DeRozan?
Absolutely not, Kyle.
No, we saw this thing online. It was Kevin O'Constantinople's podcast.
Yeah, and I don't even know who he was with.
Whoever was on his podcast threw out the idea that maybe Trey Lyles should start over DeMar DeRozan. And when I hear something like this, my brain wants to take it and go, okay, where are they coming from on this?
Mm-hmm.
Am I missing something? Because that off the rip sounds ridiculous. But I always try to like break it down. And we did this before the show. Okay, well, let's take that and let's dissect it and see if there's a way this makes sense. It doesn't. We tried. We really tried. If if at some point there's no scenario where the Kings should be taking DeMar DeRozan out of the starting lineup. I don't see a way that that's going to be a thing. Yeah. I do think though the Trey Lyles aspect of this is interesting.
No, I agree.
And it wouldn't shock me as we talk about Kevin Huerter and his shooting but he can't play defense and Keon Ellis, okay, better defender, but where does he fit offensively? Can he find a fit offensively? It would not shock me at some point if the Kings realize they need maybe more size in their starting lineup. If they decided that Trey Lyles needed to be a starter, like the obvious move, right, is Trey Lyles into the 4. You move Keegan to the 3, DeMar to the 2, and then it's Keon and Kevin Huerter off the bench. Like that's the way that would need to go.
Yeah. That's how you would.
But I also don't think the Trey Lyles in the starting lineup is an answer.
No, there are 4 starters on this team guaranteed. De'Aaron Fox,
yes.
Domantas Sabonis,
yes.
Keegan Murray, and DeMar DeRozan.
Etch it in stone.
The other starter could change. It could be. It's probably going to be Kevin Huerter in the opener, and if not, it might be Keon Ellis. But at some point during the season, it could be again. You're going up against a team that has Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle on the front line. It might make sense to start a guy like Trey Lyles, a healthy Trey Lyles, against Julius Randle.
Yes,
it could make sense.
Yeah,
and so maybe you do make that move.
Yeah,
but not today.
Also. Starting him over DeMar DeRozan is just such a big-brained, like, I need to say something about this team. So I'm going to go where no one else is going. What if they didn't start? Like, man, what?
It does feel like that.
What are you talking about?
It's just silly. We have to react and we have to bash the Kings and we have to put them in this weird bubble. Well, they made such a huge mistake by signing DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's frustrating because, again, take what national people say about the Kings specifically with like a lick of salt and a shot of tequila, right? Like that's kind of how you have to go about this because they're not dialed. They're going to look at numbers and they're going to pour through advanced stats and they might watch a couple of clips on Synergy or whatever, but they're not tapped in the way you are, the way I am, the way the Chatty House is. Like it's just that's not it. And so they're looking, and I think it's what you just said. Like, oh, DeMar DeRozan's 36. He's just not going to be that dude anymore. 35. He's just not going to be that dude anymore. So he should come off the bench and they should start. They need more size. So Trey Lyles should start. I don't hate the Trey Lyles idea. The DeMar DeRozan thing is just wild. That's off base.
Well, yeah.
Out of line.
Well, that and Trey Lyles hasn't played all offseason. And I mean, he's had a groin pull for like the last 6 or 7 weeks. Like he has, and we say they haven't played. So everyone should know, like Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles have been there every day at practice. They've been going through like the drills. They understand the drills. They have no contact, right? And again, Trey Lyles has a groin pull, so he's not running around and doing any of that stuff. It was just scrimmaging that they're not doing. So it's not like they're coming in and they're dumb and they don't know, oh no, I have to learn the offense today. No. And I'll even tell you, like Kevin Huerter got done doing yesterday. We saw him get done doing the scrimmage. We didn't get to see any of this
5-on-5?
Yeah, they did 5-on-5, but and Trey Lyles participated as well. 5-on-5 scrimmage. After the scrimmage, Kevin Huerter was sitting on the sidelines and bookended by Jay Triano and Luke Laux. Like they're going over offensive schemes, defensive schemes, what he may have done right, what he may have done wrong. And I know this sounds totally crazy. Like Keon Ellis is an incredible on-ball defender and he fights through screens like crazy. He, like for me, like one of those guys that has a potential to totally impact a game without scoring a single bucket. Right?
He's the guy that before he started playing regularly for the Kings, we would watch on other teams and go, man, they need a guy like that.
They need a Herb Jones.
Yes.
You got one. You got one. He's one of those,
man.
right?
Herb Jones is the pinnacle of that.
And, they're like college teammates.
Yes.
Okay, so, but that doesn't change the fact that Kevin Huerter, before he got to Sacramento, was a very solid defender. He's the guy who had to defend everybody because he played alongside Trae Young in Atlanta. Not only that, but Kevin Huerter has like 6 years of NBA experience of reading different defenses, of doing. He's also 6'7". He's not a bad rebounder. He's an exceptional passer. Like, there are things that people get so angry and like, oh, he's missing his 3-point shot, that they just ignore the other things that Kevin Huerter does on a court. And there is value to Kevin outside of just being a shooter. There's a ton of value outside of that. And so for me, I've always, like, as the starter for 48 games, I thought he was really good. If you're going to get him stuck in man-to-man defense against an elite point guard, he's going to get cooked. But so are half the other players in the league. It's just the way it goes.
I think it's less about that and more when he gets blown by Pat Connaughton.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the bigger issue than if Tyrese Maxey breaks him down,
Yeah, but I mean, TJ McConnell has come into Golden One Center multiple times and absolutely torched De'Aaron Fox.
TJ McConnell got paid.
He did, but I mean, that's the point. Is, like, there are certain players that are bad matchups. There are certain things that you can't ask a player to do, and then there are other things that a team is going to do to try to isolate that player and force them to do the things you don't want them to do.
Right.
That happens. That's why the NBA is more like chess than it is checkers.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the starting lineup stuff I don't think is going away. I don't imagine that we're going to be sitting here in January and they're going to have had the same starting two. I think this conversation is going to stick around. All right. Speaking of sticking around, Mad Props is going to stick around. Jesse Tapia is going to jump in with us. We've got Mad Props, and then I want to play a fun game with the NBA slate tonight. We got a ton of NBA games. We're going to talk about the watchability of each one. I'm really excited to look ahead to those games with you guys. Jiffy Lube sponsors the program. We're the Insiders. We're hanging out till noon. That's James. I'm Kyle. Jesse Tapia in with us next on ESPN 1320 and Sacramento Sports Center. Is that computer on?
Yeah, I already loaded up. Should be ready to roll.
Hell yeah.
Hails, yeah.
I will be right back. I think. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Sweet. Yeah, Zach, if we have time to get to the ESPN ranking on arenas, we will. Both of us saw it earlier. Yeah, Michigan, I do think Faraz will be here. Yeah, Golden One Center, like, I have been to quite a few arenas. I have not been to all arenas. But every new arena that opens up or any arena I go to, I always compare it, and it's not even close. Like, I think Golden One Center is so much better than Chase. It's ridiculous. Yeah. John Poles, I might wear a suit tomorrow. I may have forgotten to take all my work stuff to the cleaners, which is something I typically do right before the season, and so I have, like, an entire assortment of clothes to wear. But maybe we'll see. Yeah, so I believe Faraz is back this Friday. He was traveling last weekend and we couldn't get him. Let's see. Is there anything else I need to answer in here? Well, like, look, Zach, the reason Chase Center gets third is because Chase Center is brand new. So, like, I've been to Madison Square Garden. I think it's unbelievable. Moda Center in Portland, I think it's really cool. The one problem I have there is that where the media sits is literally speaker level. So they blare music so loud, it's ridiculous, and you can't get away from it. And so when you're done with a game there, you feel like you're not going to be able to hear for a week. And I should wear earplugs the whole time I'm there. Phoenix is not very nice. And not only that, but everything about it, like their tables and stuff, are rickety. and there's like, it's very difficult to like move around as media. Although the media seat was always like incredible. We were always like 3 rows up. But the stadium itself is very nice. San Antonio isn't very nice, and it's way outside. Like it's probably like a 10-minute Uber drive, but it's kind of like on the outskirts, and you do not want to be standing outside by yourself waiting for an Uber after the game. It's not the greatest area. Houston's okay, nothing special. Dallas is okay. I think it ranked higher than I thought. Smoothie King Center is pretty run down, but they try to update it all the time.
Nope. Now you are.
Oh,
What's up, guys? Chatty House.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no,
I was gonna forget.
Yeah, I figured.
what's going on, Jesse?
Nothing much. Wednesday. Feels like it should be Friday, but we're here.
Big win last night.
Whatever.
Cutting away mid banner raise.
Yeah, what the hell was that,
TNT?
TNT?
It's like they didn't allot enough time, and they're like, "All right, this is taking too long. We gotta go.
Yeah.
It's breaking."
What's up, Steven, Zabo, Wheezy, Drew Down, Mish, Ramsey in here.
Sounds like a law firm. Steven, Zabo, and Wheezy. All right, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Kyle Madsen here, James Ham there. Also joining us, Jesse Toppy is going to hang out with us until the end of the show, and then he's going to go produce D'Lo and Casey.
It's going to be a fun day.
I'm just happy you showed up after ring night in Boston last night, where
it was a good time. I was
Boston just dominated. I
watching...
thought maybe you were going to kick your feet up and take the rest of the week off.
No, I got to watch in the KUDL studio. I was giving away Disneyland tickets. I was having a good time yesterday watching it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Love that for you, man.
Sounds
like a great time.
Nice.
Yeah, we're out here just,
a lot of W's for
just
you
working.
yesterday.
Yeah. It's good times all around.
How badly did you want him to hit the 30th three-pointer?
I didn't care, to be honest. I thought it was just funny that we're just taking threes against the Knicks and like this honestly disrespecting the Knicks, which I thought was hilarious.
The thing that bothered me about that, we'll get to mad props in a second. The thing that bothered me about that was the Knicks seemed super content to just let him chuck away.
Yeah, it was honestly kind of embarrassing.
It was
the
so
Knicks.
embarrassing.
Like the Celtics were just like, hey, we're just going to take threes the last 8 minutes of the game, whatever, haha.
How are you not a player on the end of the Knicks bench who's now been the Knicks don't have a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
There's a chance. We saw this with Keon Ellis last year. Keon Ellis started getting rotation minutes because of how he played in those like 3 minutes of garbage time in a blowout. He played his ass off. He did all the right stuff. Like, oh, okay, hey, give him a couple minutes of real time and see how that goes. Like the fact that so many of those guys seemed super content to just not play defense.
Yeah. So
that was a tough look.
To me, it was just funny.
That was a bad look.
Especially if your coach is Tibbs. Like the way to get on the court is play defense with him. And if you're just going to go out there and not give the effort, not a great look.
Also, Sam Hauser, can you make a shot?
Yeah.
Sam, that's kind of what we pay you to do.
Peyton Pritchard, same thing.
64.3% the starter shot from three.
Yeah, it was nice.
The bench was 3 for 20.
That's the Celtics thing.
26 for 41.
The Celtics thing, too, is just we're going to get probably about 50, 63s up today. Hopefully half them going. If not, we'll still hit a decent clip.
The whining about the offense was just the worst thing after the game.
I think I saw
Is this what the game has become? Yeah, man.
I think I saw tweets like, yeah, we do 3 seconds in the key, maybe do 3 seconds in the corner by the 3-point line. What the hell are you talking about?
Big thumbs down. That's a giant thumbs down.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get to mad props. The 49ers game this weekend, plus the 2 NBA opening games last night. We take 2 props, we match them up, we pick which number is going to be higher. And good week for all of us this week. Here we go.
It's time for Mad Props. 2 games, 2 props. Which number will be higher?
Yeah.
That's for Kyle and James to decide. Here's Mad Props.
All right, good week for all of us. I finally had a good week after 2 terrible weeks. Number 1, we'll dive right in because I got a bunch of other stuff I want to get to here in the final segment. Brock Purdy passing yards or Lakers Wolves total points. It was a close one, boys. James and I went with Brock Purdy passing yards. Jesse, you went with total points in that Lakers Wolves game. 212 passing yards for Brock Purdy, 213 total points in the Lakers Timberwolves game
There we go.
last night.
Went out on a limb. We got a dub on that
That's
one.
a hell of a mad prop right there.
Yeah, thank you. I love when they work out that way. The rest of them didn't work out quite the same way. Patrick Mahomes passing attempts or Jason Tatum points. James, you went Mahomes passing attempts. Jesse and I foresaw the Jason Tatum revenge tour coming. He dropped in 37 points, just 27 passing attempts for Patrick Mahomes. So we get the W on that one. Jordan Mason rushing attempts or LeBron James field goal attempts was number 3. We all went LeBron.
LeBron James.
16 field goal attempts for LeBron James, 14 rushing attempts for Jordan Mason. Just snuck it out.
Here we go. Good job, guys.
I was a little bit concerned for that one when the Lakers kind of started pulling away there. Would they get up like 17? They were up a bunch at one point in the second quarter, and I was very concerned that we were going to see a LeBron takes the night off and finishes with 12 field goal attempts. But nevertheless, 16, and we got a W. Good job, gang. We all went NBA on this next one, too. Celtics, Knicks combined first quarter total, or 49ers, Chiefs total points. The Celtics almost outscored the 49ers and Chiefs by themselves in the first quarter.
My guys holding it down.
43 first quarter points for the Celtics, 67 total, just 46 points in the Niners Chiefs game. That's tough. I thought that we said 30.
Yeah, no, we were kind of like, oh, we hit 30 or whatever. It's been close, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it didn't even matter. Just needed one team to
Didn't matter. Yeah. Celtics at 1 more 3. They tied just by themselves.
Oh, that's not good.
Ridiculous. Brandon Ayuk targets or Jaylen Brown 3-point attempts. You guys both went Brandon Ayuk, and you probably would have been right had he stayed healthy.
Yeah.
Because he had 6 targets before he got hurt at the end of the second quarter. He was going to be targeted a lot in that game. I went with Jaylen Brown 3-point attempts. 9 3-point attempts for Jaylen Brown. 6 targets for Brandon Ayuk. That's a win for me.
Me and James, maybe get like half a win on that. Maybe a tie.
Maybe, I don't think so.
Like we can hockey this a bit. It's an overtime loss, but we'll still get points.
Consulting, where we've made the call to Secaucus. That's enough. All right,
fine.
You know what? Had we been playing Prize Picks and been able to do a flex play,
it would have been
because
removed.
Prize Picks invented the flex play.
Oh, Prize Picks.
It actually didn't. Neither Debo nor Brandon Ayuk got the injury reboot, because they didn't get ruled out till the second half.
Oh.
Which was good for me because I had less on both of them. Anyways, Fred Warner tackles. We don't talk about Prize Picks on this show. You can listen to D-Lo and KC for that. Fred Warner tackles or Anthony Davis rebounds. James, you went Anthony Davis rebounds. Jesse and I put our eggs in the Fred Warner basket. Pause.
I don't think I did. You did. Fine.
No, we both did.
Yeah, but phrasing.
Okay, very good. We both went with Fred Warner. James, you went with Anthony Davis. That was the right thing to do. 16 boards for Anthony Davis last night. Just 8 tackles for Fred Warner. I saw Anthony Davis had like 6 rebounds in the first quarter.
That was cooked pretty early on.
So James, you went 3-3 this week. That moves you to 26-13 overall this season. Jesse and I both went 4-2. I'm now a game over 500 at 20-19-3. Jesse, you are 19-10-1. The NBA won all of those mad props. I got to be better.
Got to say, I think it just means the NBA is back, guys.
The NBA has never been more back. And we actually have a full slate of games tonight. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 10 games tonight. All right. What I want to do is I'm going to go through these games, and we're going to give them a watchability score. Are you putting this game on your big screen? Are you going to second screen that game? Are you going to check highlights out? Like, yeah, I'll catch the 9-minute YouTube highlights. Or are you just checking the box score? Like, I'll just look and see the score after the game.
I got you. I like this.
All right. First one, Warriors at Portland Trailblazers.
That feels like a second screen type game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Steph, you always got to put Steph on one of the big screens.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Steph's always a draw for me.
I don't know. I think I'm going to watch the highlights because it's just going to be Steph hitting 6 threes. And then that way I don't have to watch all the other, because I don't think Portland's very good.
For obvious reasons, I'm big screening that one.
I get it. I get it.
All right. Pacers at Pistons.
Yeah,
box score.
Check the ESPN box score.
I'm checking box scores here.
Yeah, that's a box score game.
This is a box score game that I'm high on the Pistons this year.
What does
I like the Pistons more than 26.5 wins.
He thinks they might win 27.
Yeah, I think they might get to. I think they might push 31. 30 wins.
Big season for the Pistons.
No, that's a box score game for me.
Oh,
the Pistons, until further notice, the Pistons are always going to be a box score team, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that and the Pistons did something interesting this offseason. They went out and they signed a couple of guys that that the only reason they signed them is so they could trade them at the deadline.
Yeah.
Like a Tobias Harris. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Didn't they give him like a bag though?
Yeah, but they did the same thing to Bojan Bogdanovic. And they just kept waiting and waiting. And then finally someone gave him a first-round pick for him. I think that's what we're going to see here. Maybe I'm crazy.
Bag after bag after bag for a while now.
He's made so much money.
Yes.
It's like
you never made even sniffed an all-star team. It's not like CJ McCollum where it's like, oh, he's close.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
should have. Tobias Harris like, nah, don't even worry.
He's a theory guy.
Him and Harrison Barnes are
The thought of Tobias Harris has always been better than Tobias Harris.
That's facts.
Yeah.
crazy.
Anyways, Brooklyn at Atlanta.
That's I work in the Sacramento media market. I don't even care.
I may not care less about a game than that one.
I'm gonna
the
check,
rest of the year.
Did Cam Thomas go for 40? No. Okay, keep it moving.
I may not even look at the box score.
I might want to see what Sachet does just to see.
Okay.
And then, always check in on Bogey.
So you're going highlights?
No.
Is that a highlight game?
No.
Just a box
that's
score.
a box score.
Just a box score game.
James, like, don't go too far. I'm not whoa, dude. Yeah, I'm not going to go back.
No, I just like Brooklyn might be really bad. Does Brooklyn have anything endearing outside of Jordy Fernandez?
Yeah, no, it's just Jordy Fernandez. I guess Ben Simmons, if you're into that.
We're not here for
I'm not in
Simmons.
No.
Yeah.
If this was the first time, you got me. Second time, you got me. Third time, even. Maybe you got me. Seventh time, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out on the Ben Simmons thing. I may not even check the box score.
I
if something crazy, if I see if one of these teams scores 140, maybe I'll tap in and see did someone do something ridiculous. But I'm not even checking the box score there.
All right.
Orlando at Miami is kind of interesting.
Oh, I'm in.
I'm second screening this one.
This is big screen.
You're big screening this one.
Yeah, because Paolo, I think everyone's kind of waiting on Paolo this year. See if he's going to break out, have that year, like as a superstar and all that. And I like the Heat. They got to stay healthy, but I like the players they got there. They're going to be a good team.
I might big screen this one too.
Yeah, I'm looking at the other games, and this might be the big screen game of the night. There's a couple other games.
I think you can. I'm playing this as though like you can.
We have multiple TVs in our house.
Yeah.
We're Kenny. We live at Kenny's house. We have about
we're
a
in
million
the compound.
TVs. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so you can big screen multiple games.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the quality of the game that we're talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think I explained that poorly. Yeah, I guess I'm just I don't have that much fun watching Miami play basketball, which is why I think I dropped him to a second screen initially.
Miami?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Eric Spoelstra guy, which is weird because he's a head coach. But Eric Spoelstra, you throw out 12 guys out there, it's like this team somehow is going to work.
Yeah, but that's fine. I just don't find them that aesthetically pleasing to watch.
No, I agree, but I'm kind of here to see what Jaime Jaquez looks like in year 2, year 3.
Yeah. So I second screen it.
All right.
I feel good about a second screen on that one. I am high on Orlando, though. I think Orlando's going to be really good.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
You have them top 4?
Yeah, I think so. I think I did yesterday.
Yeah, or we both have them at 5.
Oh, maybe we did.
Yeah.
There's still like.
Yeah, I had Indiana at 4.
And I had Milwaukee at 4.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
they're still playing, maybe 6th. One more year for Orlando, I think, and then.
Okay. I think Paolo's going to take a huge leap at some point, and I think it's going to be this year.
Like I said,
and he's just going to kind of be a monster. Milwaukee at Philly.
I will check highlights for this one. No Joel Embiid, no Paul George.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's highlights.
Yeah. It's highlights.
It's highlights because Maxey and Giannis and Dame.
And all that, but
I just don't need to have it on.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
No,
if Embiid and Paul George are playing, this is a big screen for me.
Honestly, if one of those two were playing, I'd still big screen it.
It's a good point.
I think it's interesting too. Like you mentioned Spoelstra. I'm kind of excited to see Dave Yeager assistant coaching against Bobby Jackson and Brian Gates assistant coaching for Philadelphia.
That's a deep cut.
Little Kings connection right there.
I love the idea.
Maybe big screen now.
I love the idea of going to a bar and being like, "Hey, can you get this Milwaukee and Philly game on?" And somebody's like, "We're in Sacramento," and James is like, "Oh, I know."
I know.
Have you seen the assistant coaches on this team?
Yeah, amazing.
Next up, Cleveland at Toronto.
This is a box score game. Toronto's not carrying here. Cleveland's watchable, but Toronto's just not.
I might highlight this one.
Yeah, Scotty Barnes is good.
Scotty Barnes?
Maybe it is highlights.
I might second screen this. I want to see where Davion's at, and I think the Cavs are a better team than I think they're good. I don't think they're great, but I think they're good. And So I don't know. I'm gonna
Pick
look
one.
past the
Pick
fact
it.
it's second
It's not-
screen.
Oh, there we go.
I didn't
James.
text you. I'm sorry, Kenny. You're good today.
Oh, this is awkward.
Appreciate you. I meant to text you. That's my fault. We're good. Kenny Caraway coming up in 10 minutes. Yeah,
It's a complete crap.
it's kind of how I feel about Toronto.
Yeah.
And
Remember Pascal Siakam?
I'm down on
Kawhi Leonard?
Cleveland.
That was cool.
yeah, I'm box scoring this one. Box score for me.
All right.
And if there's something intriguing in the box score, maybe I'll adjust it to highlights. Box score with a chance of highlights.
I like Emmanuel
Does that make
quickly.
sense?
I like some of I
If the-
like Scotty Barnes.
The Raptors got players. So if their players are just hitting that day, then like it'll be a good game.
Sure.
But
All right.
it's also the Raptors.
Charlotte at Houston.
No.
I'm second screening this.
Yes, give me the second screen on this one as
Yeah.
well.
Houston's
I'll watch
gonna-
all the young teams with the young players developing and all that. Like
Houston might be must watch this year. You get
Yeah.
LaMelo back, Brandon Miller in year 2.
Charlotte's gonna be healthy for this week at least. We know, so watch that while you
Ooh,
can.
You might need to get your LaMelo ball games in now.
Come on,
This is-
James.
This is gonna
Second
be
screen season. Second
a
screen.
blowout. This is a blowout, and I'm going to check the box score because I want to see
You
how
can
they
ask me and
distribute
Jesse
minutes.
about the
Yeah,
game.
we'll
then.
tell you
We'll let you know.
That's right. I want to see how they distribute minutes. That's about it.
Yeah, man. I'm fascinated by Houston. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
so many players that could just take leaps. And we talked about this so much yesterday. I want to see, and it maybe Charlotte doesn't suck. Like we kind of left them out of the East yesterday, but when you look at the back end of the play-in, if you told me Charlotte was better than Toronto,
Chicago.
okay, Brooklyn, Atlanta, I don't think any of that would shock me. They just got to stay healthy.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to watch Miles Bridges play basketball.
That's a good point.
I get that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chicago, they are at New Orleans. This is a box score game for me.
This is one of those games where I kind of just pretend it's not even there.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just care so little about New Orleans right now.
I will check in on Lonzo Ball, but that's as far as it'll go.
Yeah, that's cool.
I
That's a
might
cool story.
skim the box score, but that's it. Like I'm not.
I'm not. There's not even. I'm
Taking
scrolling
a deep dive
past.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even.
I'll check the box score because I'm always open to being wrong. And maybe I'm wrong about New Orleans. Maybe they go in and they kick the hell out of Chicago and DeJounte Murray looks great and Brandon Ingram puts all the trade stuff behind him and looks great and Zion looks like an MVP candidate. Okay.
You're not here for
But-
Herb Jones versus Nikola Vucevic.
Yeah, no, Herb Jones starting at the 5, it doesn't move me much.
Pelicans are going to take a step back this year.
I think so too. I had him missing the play-in in
I
our
don't-
preseason predictions.
Missing the play?
Yeah.
I don't know if I go
You need-
that far, but I'm
here's-
kind of on that same path.
The vibes are bad with BI.
Mhm.
I don't foresee a great season from him. And then you tell me Zion Williamson plays 35 games. Like that's
don't
kind
know.
of where
Yeah, I'm out.
if he plays a whole season, I hope he does. Like I said, I hope he proves me wrong. That'd be great. Getting a peak Zion would be awesome. But
We're still kind of waiting on him too. He just hasn't broken through that glass ceiling,
yeah,
which is I wonder if that just might be the case forever.
it might be.
Hmm.
Last couple here. Memphis at Utah.
Give
How
me
are we
the-
feeling about the Grizzlies?
Give me the highlights on that one. Yesterday we were playing more or less with the win totals and all that. I took more on the Grizzlies. I think they're going to be better than people are giving them credit for.
Okay.
I think I want. This is weird. I want to second screen this game
I'm there too.
because I want to see what Zach Edey looks like, and I want to see what he looks like against Walker Kessler.
Mhm.
And like that matchup right there is super intriguing to me. And then, like, do the Grizzlies have anything? Do they still have that edge to them,
Mhm.
or are they just like going through the motions?
And is Utah going to be serious, or is Utah looking at Cooper Flag?
I'm out on Utah till they make a move.
It's a good question. Are they gonna? Yeah, I don't know. That's intriguing. See, there's some intrigue to that game.
Yeah, that's I don't think Utah is going to be good.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to threaten for a play-in spot. But it's just, are they going to try for that play-in spot, or is it really obvious from day one that they're not?
Yeah,
yeah. I
and
don't know.
Utah does have talent, and
Right. That's why I'm second screening this one. Because maybe that talent comes together. Maybe Keontae George takes this huge leap, and
he looked really good.
and Lauri Markkanen's there, and now that he's locked in, he's going to be better. And Walker Kessler takes a leap, and John Collins, you mentioned, looked bigger when they played the Kings.
Yeah, he looked phenomenal.
So maybe Utah is just going to be awesome.
kind of here for the Brandon Clark versus John Collins matchup. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys might have talked me into a second screen here.
Yeah,
I was
nice,
not in
dude.
on Utah,
Nice.
but yeah, I'll second screen it.
All right, I love that for you. Last one, Phoenix at the Clippers.
This is a big screen.
Yeah, it's true big screen.
Yeah, I think so too.
No Kawhi, but James Harden's always good for a watch. And then you got KD, Book, and Beal.
I also think can Harden carry all of the scoring load? Can he be a 30-point per game guy anymore? I mean, he averaged like 16.6 last season.
He said during the offseason that he's still that guy. He just hasn't been the last couple of years because it's not what's been needed of him.
Oh, it has nothing to do with age or
Yeah,
fact that he's not in great shape.
Yeah,
James Harden's 35 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know, James. Might be just be time.
You know, I remember I talked
we're gonna find out tonight.
Yeah.
Bogdan Bogdanovic told me that James Harden is the most difficult dude to defend in the league because he's sitting there and he's just dribbling and you're watching him dribble and he kind of lulls you to sleep. He will just lean a little bit one way. And the second he sees you go to make an adjustment, he explodes at that second while you're going one way. He goes the other way and he's past you. And you're like, he's not fast. He's not even particularly quick.
I'm sorry, who is this?
James Harden said.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Bogdan Bogdanovic said this about James Harden. He said he keeps you off balance the whole time. And so you think you've got him and you're okay. And then he's past you. And then as soon as you try to recover, bumps into you, gets a foul, throws it up, hits a shot. And you're just like, I can't believe that just happened to me.
He's also a lot bigger than he looks on television.
Yeah.
He's a legit like 6'7".
He's such a weird player.
He's a big boy.
Because he's probably top 5 ever at his position, I think.
I don't know.
Top of my head.
Scorer for sure. And putting the ball in the hoop.
I think
Definitely.
because all he's missing is just the postseason success, I feel. Like was always really good. And I feel like the little fall off we've seen
All right,
is
so at
just
the
normal.
2, you've got MJ.
Yeah, it's MJ 1. Yeah,
Kobe?
2 guard, 2 Kobe, Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
There's some obvious ones we're missing.
All time at
All
the 2?
time.
Yeah, all time.
I mean, there's a ton of guys from the 60s,
Right,
70s.
right.
I mean, you get your Clyde Drexlers. You got.
I'll take
like-
James over Clyde.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably. Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of obvious ones from like recent eras.
Yeah, I'd have to
It's
see like a
not-
deeper dive into it. I mean, statistically speaking, for sure.
Yeah,
I
his
mean,
stats are just insane.
He's won an MVP. He's been in the top 3 in MVP like 4 or 5 other seasons.
His best chance was that year. It's CP3 messed up his hammy against the Warriors.
Yeah, they were gonna win that series.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd also like look. I want to know where he sits all time assists, where he sits all time scoring. Like he's way up there all time.
Yeah, man. There
assist-wise.
haven't been that many better offensive players than him at his peak.
Yeah.
He was really, really good. And the volume was insane. I'm sorry, I'm looking. It looked like I missed a break, but we didn't. We're good.
I was like, are we off air right now?
We're all set. No, we're all set. We're good to go. Jesse Tapia produces D'Lo and KC. D'Lo and KC are coming up next. Kings season opener tomorrow. We're going to be breaking that all down tomorrow. He's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. And what do you guys got? I'm sorry. I meant to ask you what you guys got coming up.
Oh, we're going to talk obviously about yesterday's games. We had some Kings obviously tomorrow. I'll talk about the Timberwolves, that matchup, and just regular stuff. We got what's today?
Vibes.
Wednesday. We got James at 3.
Great.
It's all vibes. Just
Can't wait.
purely basketball, bro. Basketball's back. You know
Basketball's
how
so
it is
back.
on D'Lo and KC.
There we go.
Basketball has never been more back. That's Jesse. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Until tomorrow at 10 a.m., drink water. Be nice, people.